Subscribe for real stories about trust, silence, and the moments that change everything. For a full year, my wife didn't touch me. Not angrily, not dramatically, just consistently. Like intimacy had been quietly removed from our marriage without any discussion. No fights, no ultimatums. Just excuses that stacked up until they stopped sounding temporary. I'm tired. My head hurts. Can we not tonight? First, I believed her. I adjusted. I gave space. I told myself marriage wasn't just about sex. It was about patience, understanding, being there when your partner needed rest instead of pressure. Months passed. Rest turned into routine. Routine turned into distance. We slept in the same bed, but our bodies never met. Goodnight kisses landed on cheeks. Hugs felt brief, careful, almost polite. I stopped initiating because rejection has a way of training you. You learn when not to reach out. You learn when silence hurts less than hope. I didn't cheat. I didn't complain to friends. I didn't threaten divorce. I stayed. I worked longer hours. I filled my days with things that didn't ask anything from me. And slowly, without realizing it, I stopped wanting her to want me. Then one evening she asked me to sit down. That alone felt strange. She looked nervous. Not guilty. Not scared. Just tense. Her hands were folded in her lap, fingers rubbing together the way people do when they're rehearsing something they don't want to say out loud. I need to tell you something, she said. I nodded. I'm pregnant. The word didn't land the way it should have. There was no rush of joy. No shock. Just a hollow pause where my mind tried to do math that didn't add up. A year. That was how long it had been since she last let me touch her. I didn't accuse her. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even ask the question sitting right there between us. I just waited. Sometimes silence forces people to fill it. She swallowed. I know this is unexpected. That's one word for it, I said. She rushed on as if speed could soften the truth. I didn't plan this. Just happened. And now I need your help. I can't do this alone. Help. That word stayed with me. Not us. Not together. Help. I looked at her then. Really looked, and realized something unsettling. She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She wasn't afraid I'd leave. She was afraid I wouldn't stay. I leaned back in my chair, keeping my expression neutral. Inside, a storm was brewing. A year of rejection doesn't vanish overnight. No matter what miracle or mistake had just happened. I had learned the hard way that sudden intimacy doesn't erase months of cold nights and quiet dinners. Of course, I said finally. We'll figure this out. My voice was calm, but I made sure she heard nothing more than willingness. Her relief was immediate. A soft exhale. A small smile. She reached for my hand. I let her touch it, but I didn't move closer. Not yet. I needed to see if this moment would change her or just me. The days that followed were strange. She started to depend on me for everything, from cooking meals to attending doctor appointments. The dynamic shifted, but not entirely in the way she expected. I didn't swoop in with excitement or gush over her every whim. I simply showed up consistently, quietly, reliably. One evening, while setting the baby's room together, she paused and looked at me. I've been unfair, she said, almost whispering. A year. I ignored you. I shut you out. I didn't say anything right away. Silence has a way of making people reflect deeper than words can. She continued. I don't want to lose you. I need you. Not just for this baby. For me. I watched her, and for the first time in months, I realized that fear can be as strong as desire. She had been afraid of confronting the distance between us, afraid to admit that she had been wrong, or too proud to ask for what she needed. I reached out then, not in passion, not in urgency, but with purpose. My hand on her shoulder. My eyes meeting hers. We'll do this together, I said. She nodded, relief flooding her face. But I stayed aware. This wasn't about quick reconciliation or sudden affection. It was about building trust step by step without illusions. She had asked for help and I had given it, but on my terms too. Respect first. Connection second. That night, for the first time in months, we spoke honestly about everything. The resentment. The distance. The lack of touch. And instead of anger, something shifted. Understanding. A cautious willingness to rebuild. Sometimes, change doesn't come with fireworks or grand gestures. Sometimes it comes quietly, in shared responsibilities, in acknowledgement of past wrongs, and in the careful rebuilding of something once broken. The weeks that followed were a careful dance. I was present but not desperate. I listened more than I spoke, watched more than I intervened. Emily began to open up in ways she hadn't in over a year, small confessions, quiet smiles, subtle touches that were tentative, almost shy. It wasn't passion at first. It wasn't even intimacy. It was acknowledgement. A recognition that we were both still here, still committed in some way, and that what had been lost could slowly be reclaimed. One evening, she looked at me across the kitchen counter as I chopped vegetables. I didn't realize how much I needed you until I felt I might lose you. Her voice wavered slightly, not in apology but in admission. Admission carried weight. It carried change. I nodded, keeping my face calm, but inside I was recalibrating. A year of rejection had left its mark. I wouldn't return to the man who chased after affection that wasn't offered freely. But I could stand by the man who stayed steady, who understood that healing doesn't happen overnight. When she touched my arm that night, it was brief. She let go quickly, almost afraid of taking too much, too soon. I didn't pull her closer. I let her retreat into the comfort she'd been missing. Trust isn't demanded. It's given slowly, cautiously, and earned by consistency. The pregnancy became a shared focus. We attended appointments together, read about what to expect, planned for the months ahead. Each task, each small interaction, became a subtle building block for intimacy. And with every block, I noticed a shift in Emily. Her laughter returned. Not the careless, dismissive laugh of avoidance, but one that included me. She began asking my opinion, wanting my input, letting me guide decisions. One night, while folding tiny clothes for the baby, she looked up at me and said softly, "I was wrong. I pushed you away, and I see that now." I didn't respond immediately. I let the words hang in the air. Sometimes acknowledgement is stronger than any argument, any promise. I reached out, resting my hand over hers. "We're moving forward," I said. "Together. Step by step." She smiled, a mix of relief and understanding. And in that moment, I realized that desire, trust, and connection don't always come back all at once. Sometimes they return quietly, in the acceptance of help, in mutual effort, and in the unspoken understanding that we had survived the longest, coldest months of our marriage, and now we were beginning to truly be partners again. The baby wasn't just a new life. It became a bridge, a reason to rebuild, to reestablish what had been lost. And for the first time in a year, I felt the possibility of intimacy, not forced, not demanded, but earned slowly, quietly, and honestly.